Well, I'm going to stand down over here so I can see the screen because we'll go through it pretty fast. First of all, I want to say that, as I said in the first session, what a joy to be here. Thank you so much for your support of our work in Africa. And I say our, I'm talking about the work of God in Africa. We're working in southern Africa. And the boxes, every year I come get boxes and I think you guys are done. And here come more boxes, you know. And and so I thank you for that too. So your prayers as well. So several levels this church is helping us. And so let me say right from the start, I don't want you to think that we're just staying on the same piece of territory. We are moving forward all the time. And that's what I want you to see every year that we come back. So this is the first one. I don't know if those lights could be turned down a little bit because I won't need those yes, that would be a little bit. But anyway, so last year, my son and his wife came to us and said, we want to work with you all full time. And so let me just preface it by saying that when you look at me, this is not the age of our team. Okay, I mean we got a young team now. Okay, so my son and his wife Bridget and their two children, Boston and Wesley, they are joining us. And he just started in January, and their sponsoring church, which is the Crosspoint Church of Christ, has taken them on. And he'll be heading up the ACT project, which is Africa Container Transport. So that means the boxes. He'll be coming and getting your boxes for you from you. This is our 25th container. Do you know that we're ninth year? This is our ninth. We've just begun our ninth year in February. Okay, and we thought if we could ship 120 foot a year, that would be awesome. Because I don't know if we get enough boxes. Well, last year we shipped 40 foots. And we've already shipped 140 foot, and we're about to do another one. It's because of people like you, congregations like you. And most of the clothes we get are ladies' clothes, okay? So ladies, keep shopping. This is our first container to Zambia. We've been shipping to Swaziland and we're shipping to Zimbabwe. And this was our first one to Zambia. And there they are sorting out all the shoes that were sent. You know, we had a collection. We thought we had a collection of 10,000 shoes, 10,000 pairs of shoes, and we collected it within a year. And so it's helped all these places. Can you top that, by the way? Try to top that. Gladys and I used to see that because I mean it's just amazing. You try to do that. Those are professionals. You will not take 4 steps before it all comes crashing down on you. This is Haley Malangani. He's a good friend of ours, and in fact, really, he's my son. He came over here years ago and went and got a Bible degree at Heritage Christian University, and then went to the University of North Alabama and got a computers degree. A super intelligent young man, but he heads up our well program. DAD stands for Drilling and Drip Irrigation. And we have done 44 wells. Do you know that when we were here last year, we had done 39? We've done 44. Our goal was to do 50 in 10 years. We've just begun our 9th year, and we're about to drill 45 and 46. So it's helped so many people. Let me just tell you a little bit about the wells. Okay, so we don't drill the wells. We drill the wells where there is going to be a church, or if there's a church there already, because it's a door opener. The end game is not fresh drinking water, which is great. But it is living water, and that's an opportunity to share the gospel. But I just want to share this with you about women in Africa. You know that there are women in Africa that spend every day of their lives getting water. Some of them are spending 4 or 5 hours a day just to go walk and go get water. You know what that means to those women? It's not something, well, one day when we get faucet water, you know. No, it won't ever come to them. And so they miss out on their children growing up, their school activities. They miss out on any sort of community life. That is their existence. When we bring a well to a village, we are allowing women, or giving women the privilege, again, they consider it a privilege, I don't, but I mean it's normal to us, to have a life and an interaction with their children and go to school activities and have a community life. And so I thank you. Look at the joy that brings. You know that lady on the right was spending 4 hours a day getting water. and now she just spends about 30 minutes. Excited, not excited that she has water in the house, excited that she has to walks 100 meters. Those children, the average life expectancy in rural Africa because of the waterborne diseases is 37 years. And look at those children, they're getting fresh water and they're going to be able to live a normal life expectancy. Because now they have fresh water and now we can up our game. Because you know what we're doing? We're building community gardens. You get the fresh water, how about organic vegetables? And so that's what we're doing now, and it's changing. But it's an evangelistic tool. Because I had one brother say to me, one minister, he said, Dorian, we invite the community to come in and plant a row. Come plant your vegetables with us. And he said, while they planting the seedlings, I'm planting seed. And many of them are coming to know the Lord. So we're thankful. We had this group from Rose Hill Church of Christ in Columbus, Georgia, come. And we had prepared the ground. We got our well. And they were planting seedlings. And the seedlings started to grow. And lo and behold, there was these women that had worked all day. And there they came by, and we gave them fresh vegetables. And we said, oh, by the way, why don't you come and plant some rows here by our garden? How do you like our onions? Now, that's onions. You just think you have onions in America. You don't have onions in America. Those things are dwarfs. But by the way, no fertilizer, because that land has never had water, really. And when you put water with all the natural nutrients that are already there, those things explode. That's a new community garden we're just doing right now. And it's going to serve 10 villages. We're thankful for that. Right now in Zimbabwe, they are having the worst drought in a century. 2.4 million people are projected to die of starvation. We're trying our best. We have 3 villages where we've planted churches, and we are delivering food right now to those villages until we can start drilling wells. Once you drill wells, then they just take off. It's no problem. So we are raising money for 3 wells right now, and I've already got money for 2 of those wells. It's $6,000 to do a well, but anyway, we got that, and we're well on our way. We're thankful. And I'll be leaving for Africa in 9 days, and we'll start drilling. That's how some women go get their water every day. Can you imagine going down to the river? When you get to the river, there's no water. You better dig until you can get to the water to fill your bucket with that kind of water. And hopefully, if you've got a buck or two, a guy in a cart will carry it for you. So, this year, we have immersed 509 into Christ. I want you to know you're a part of this, okay? 509. Now, there's more to that picture. There's a 509th person being immersed into Christ. But you know that very place? We used to go down to that riverbed where I just showed you that picture right there. And we had to go dig and dig and dig until there was enough water where we could bury someone in baptism. And when you put them under, you couldn't see them. But when you get a well, what a picture. Eh? Good, clean water. This man right here is the head man, Mr. Moyo. A very well-respected man in a large area between Zimbabwe and Zambia. He is over 500 families. And the preacher there got to know him and taught him the great news about Jesus Christ, and he's become a Christian, and he has deeded, because he's the head man in that area, he has deeded the church 6 acres for a community garden, and then an additional 3 acres for us to build a building. And we are so thankful to him and thankful that he has given his life to Christ. So this is our mom project. Remember I told you our team is young, so we've got my son and his wife heading up the ACT project, and then the mom project is headed up by these 3 young women, 2 that live in Zimbabwe and 1 that lives in the United States. Janet in the middle went to Harding University. She traveled with us, went on trips with us, and then just decided to be on our team and work with us full time. She has since got married. I did the wedding, but she is staying working with us. Her husband is glad about it. Noma up front, Faith in the back. They head up Mom Project, stands for Making Orphan Meals, and they help feed 1,000 orphans a week in Southern Africa. And they are amazing women. Amazing women. There's our plate of food still. It's still 50 cents. They don't pay 50 cents. I'm just telling you that's what it costs us. You see the white? That's white sweet potato. Then the rice. Then the pumpkin. Then the meat. Man, do they get excited when they eat meat. Because they hardly get it, you know. Man, their staple is cornmeal, which is, and so they get meat and they'll jump up and down. It's meat day, and they will eat that whole plate. And I look at my grandchildren sit there and say, I don't want this, I don't want that. I'm sure it doesn't happen to your children or grandchildren. It does to mine, and I thought, and those kids just give us all, it doesn't matter. You can even scrape the bottom of the pot after they finished and it's even charred, they'll eat it. And we're thankful that we can do it. And the end game is many of them have come to Sunday school. Most of them come to Sunday school, and now we've started to immerse a lot of them into Christ. So we're thankful. Valentine's Day at Imani Church of Christ. Valentine's Day, no chocolates, but man, that's better than chocolate as far as they're concerned. Some ladies in Texas made pillowcase dresses. Are they happy or what? Those girls. Millions, I'm not exaggerating, millions of children in Africa go to school like that every day. They walk, and many of them walk miles. And that girl in the middle is the oldest, and she takes care of the two on each side of her. It's done every single day. So, Imani Children, the reason those children are special is because those are some of the orphans we feed, and we have some families in Florence, Alabama that has adopted them because they couldn't go to school. If you can't pay your school fees and you can't buy a uniform, you don't go to school in Zimbabwe. And so they are sponsoring those children. So, when I was here last time, remember I said we were building a clinic? They gave us the land in October 2013. We started building. We opened up the clinic in March of last year. Just after I was here, we opened up that clinic. It's the first clinic by the Churches of Christ in this part of Zimbabwe, in that part of Africa, I should say, as far as Zimbabwe, South Africa, Swaziland is concerned. And so we are so excited about that. We had a grand opening. Over 1,000 people attended, government dignitaries, but also chiefs and also people from the area. How do you like that? Those are 15 villages are going to be served that get no medical whatsoever. However, that day was the opening day. Do you know that our sisters in Christ made 2 big pots? One was cornmeal, looked like mashed potatoes, and the other was beef gravy with beef, and then some vegetable, 2 other pots. And they fed everybody. It wasn't the feeding of the 5,000, but I certainly thought about it. So we have this, our clinic is about to be completed. So now we've got to furnish it. So I went to Nashville. We ship our containers out of Nashville with Healing Hands. Healing Hands is a Church of Christ organization that ships everywhere around the world. So I went to Joseph Smith, who's the coordinator, and I said, Joseph, we need these 70 items for the clinic. Wheelchairs, beds, sheets, heart monitors, whatever, man, just give it to us. And so I said, see what you can find amongst the Churches of Christ in Nashville and their connection to the medical industry. So I came back and I said, well, how'd you do? He said, well, we did pretty good. We got all 70 and you've got a 40-foot container full. So we shipped it and it arrived, and amongst that was a hospital that gave us 2,000 sheets. I mean, beautiful, brand new sheets, We're so thankful. And so we had a team come from Kentucky and Texas, and they were, they were getting the name of our clinic on the sheets. Oh, by the way, that guy's name is Neil Height, and he is a principal in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and his wife loved that picture. but let me tell you something else. There's no cord to that iron. You know how that iron gets hot? They screw off the top. And the coals that you have already heated up, you put them in the top of the iron and screw it down. And now you've got some heat. And then you do that. So there we have Amazon Clinic Church of Christ. Isn't that wonderful? Serving 20,000 people in a community that there was none whatsoever medical. How do you sustain a clinic? You mean you're going to get money from the United States for the rest of time? No. We raised $200,000 for the clinic. It's already raised. It's paid for. The clinic is finished. So now, how do you sustain it? In order for it to be successful, it has to be sustained in Africa. And so what we're doing is, you go out to the bush and you find posts. except I'm referring to trees. And you use your axe and your machete because you don't have any chainsaw. They've never heard of Black & Decker. And then after that, you get your posts, and then you make your kraal, which is barbed wire around, because that's where you're going to put your cattle. Because you're going to buy some bulls, and then you're going to buy heifers, and you're going to build a herd up to 100, and from those new calves you get every year, it will sustain that clinic. Because the clinic is built on concrete. It's built with concrete, and the only wood is the trusses, and the roof is good for a generation. On top of that, nurses in rural Zimbabwe are paid for by the government. We've already built their housing. And then World Vision provides us free medicine. And it has no central air or central heat. So the minimal cost you have, those calves will take care of it every year. And that way, that'll be sustained. And this is beef country, by the way. These people know cattle. This is my oldest grandson. His name is Tristan. And I tell you what, it's wonderful. He obeyed the gospel, a couple of years ago. And I tell you, it's wonderful to have your grandson serve the Lord's Supper, but to do it in Africa is wonderful. He loves Africa. He's come twice. He's hoping to come a third time. Him and his brother called. Told their mother, and then their mother called me, and they said, my daughter said that they wanted Granddaddy to know that when Granddaddy and Grandma die, that they will take over Partners for Africa. And I said, that's great, don't rush me. Rural Bibles, rural distribution of Bibles. Every person that obeys the gospel gets a Bible, and we're thankful to some families in Lakeland, Florida that want to do that. And we do more than those that are baptized into Christ. That's 509 last year, and then of course we passed it on to others that need it in homes as well. Apologeticspress approached me, and they said, Dorian, have you read our material? This is based in Montgomery, Alabama, and they with the Faulkner University, and they said somewhat connected with them. And I said, no, I'd like to read your material. Now, I want you to know the quality they do is just like the quality is just like the public high schools, their quality. But of course, they've got all this information about how God has created everything. And they said, could you use our material? And so I looked at it and I said, yeah, man, I could use your material. They said, what we will do is we will raise the money to purchase all these textbooks if you can get them into the schools in Africa. And I said, you better believe I can get it into the schools. And they said, how many do you need? And I said, I need about 10,000. And they swallowed hard. Okay. We've already got 6,000 on the water on a container. And we're going to distribute it to public schools in Southern Africa. Wish to God we could do it at our public schools here. I just wanted to share this too with you, just a brief story. These two, they're not a couple, but they both are members at the Inketa 9 Church of Christ. And the lady on the right, Sister Moyo, does the preschool. And I'm explaining this because I want you to see what we are doing. All of the church buildings that are built, by the way, we don't raise money for church buildings. We drill a well and they make the bricks and build the church building. But we use it every single day. She has a preschool. The guy on the left, Brother Victor, 4 years ago, couldn't find a job. He's got a degree in teaching. And so couldn't find a job because unemployment was so bad. He decided that he'd do afternoon tutoring. And so he started tutoring 10 children. Then it went to 30 children. Then it went to 100. While he's doing this, the church has a community garden, like I said. And so he gets to know the preacher there while they are planting seeds and that. And the preacher plants seeds in his heart because, you see, he's a Muslim, and he has started a Muslim school, and they have the Quran, okay? And he becomes a Christian. He becomes a Christian. And he said this. He said, you know, I had learned a little bit about Jesus Christ, he says, but I was never taught that there was anything called the Holy Spirit. And when he started learning, he said, I come to find out there is some of God that I didn't know. Anyway, needless to say, that the school is now in the church building and the Bible is the textbook, and we are glad for that. the church also, the government said we need a place to inoculate kids. And the church said, okay, why don't you come to our building and use our facility. So they've got a community garden, they've got a preschool, they've got a Christian high school, and they do inoculations for the community. You think they're reaching out? Oh, yes, I do. Absolutely. And like I said, we do not build buildings, but we drill a well. And what happens when you drill a well? The brothers and sisters, they know how to, the brothers and sisters, they know how to build. Okay, so anybody want to try to pronounce that name? Anyway, at Intabazanduna, the church there have just about finished their building. We drilled a well and they took the ball and ran with it. And that building's just about done because they're not going to worry about painting, and they can put doors on it. It's not going to have central air, central heat like we do, but they are going to use it every single day, and we are thankful for that. This is another church. This was interesting. You see the Bulawayo Central Church of Christ? Bulawayo is the second largest city in Zimbabwe. It's a city of 1.6 million. Okay, and so one of the churches there had a sister from the Bahamas, and she was a member of the church in the Bahamas when she moved to Zimbabwe. So she wrote to the church in the Bahamas, and she says, the church is trying to pick up all these children. Could we get a bus? The church in the Bahamas raised the money and purchased the bus for the church in Zimbabwe. You talk about a worldwide family. Isn't that great? But what happened is the church is growing so much, and they haven't finished the building yet, that they're limited in space. So, of course, when the bus arrives, it becomes one of the Sunday school classrooms. And they use that on Sunday morning for the church. This is a young guy whose grandfather had obeyed the gospel, and he went and visited his grandson. His grandson's paralyzed. I don't know why. But that Sunday morning, his grandson, after being taught by his grandfather what it means to become a Christian, wanted to be baptized that day. And that's one of the wells we did. And he was baptized that day, and we are so thankful for that. I do want you to know that we have YES ministries. YES stands for Youth Exalting the Son, and we work with youth all through Southern Africa. And this is the youth, some of the youth in Bulawayo. And the reason I'm showing them to you is because they just finished their first a cappella CD. And they've done it in English, in Zulu, and in Shona. And the English song, well, all the songs you would enjoy. We are now tweaking it, kind of to have to do some editing. And then once that's done, then I will try to, next year when I come, I'll leave a copy with you all. You all can listen to it. In Venda, which is in South Africa, we help with the Christian youth encampment. And there was several that were immersed into Christ during that encampment. And young people have an appetite. Nothing's changed, no matter where you go. We have Shine. Shine is spiritually helping in nurturing and equipping. And, I've talked about all the good works we do, but I want you to know this. We do 25 leadership seminars, 25 marriage seminars, 25 youth seminars a year in Southern Africa. It's constant. And this is one of our seminars, and this was attended by 112 preachers just from Southern Zimbabwe. And we have it all over. So we had our Children's Day. Do you know that 7 years ago, if we had 100 kids, we were excited. But we had 1,000 kids, and we had Bible quizzes. We had who wants to quote a memory verse? They'd run up there and quote their verses. They would act out Bible stories. They had their own teams that practiced it. It was just quite amazing. Then after, some of their teachers ran, and they had got a good laugh out of that. But I do want you to see this. The lady in the middle is Sister Miriam Vimba, and she is called a Gogo. Now in Africa, Southern Africa, when you become a Gogo, it means you are a grandmother of high standing, and your daughters and your daughter-in-laws and your granddaughters serve you. So if you want something done, what can we do? She is the one that said, I want to have a Children's Day. Even the elders buckled. No, they thought it was a good idea too. but I'm thankful to her and for her love for children. But she is an amazing woman. She really is. So, 50 new congregations in 8 years. This is what you've been a part of. It is so receptive in Southern Africa right now. And we are thankful for that. We have over 16,000 World Bible School students at our Bible school office in Bulawayo. Most of them are high school students. That's a result of our marriage seminars. We like that. And for Glennis, you can see that's at the fountain in Bulawayo. She knows where that is exactly. But I mean, talk about, and the couple, he is a minister. And they help feed orphans, and now they begin their life together. And there's no telling as a couple what they're going to do together. But even in Zimbabwe, man, they just celebrate weddings. The weddings are just amazing. Do you know at this one, they don't have much, this couple right now? And the church came together, and one guy put up his hand and he said, I'm going to donate a cow to feed everybody at the reception. And another person said, I have 50 chickens. I'm going to do this. And everybody came together, and they had over 1,000 at their wedding, and everybody just ate and just had a great time. You know? So I'll get to the end of my slide presentation, and this is Amazon Christian School. When we were at the clinic, I went and visited the elementary school, and I said, where's your high school? And they said, well, we don't have a high school because there's no high school in this area to serve these 15 villages, and the closest high school is 15 miles away. Our children could never walk that. So I said, you gave us 3 acres for a clinic. Would you like the Churches of Christ to build a high school? And they said, yes. I said, well, we would build a Christian high school, and we would need 20 acres. I was being big and bold. I'm going to go for it now, 20 acres. 3 days later, the leaders had met, community leaders and elected officials. And so happy we drilled wells out there and the clinic. They said, we have land that adjoins the clinic, but we don't want to break it up. It's 70 acres. Would you take that? I think so. Yeah. So they gave us 70 acres for a Christian high school. Can you imagine? You think about the high schools in the Atlanta area around here, how big a parcel of land they have. We have 70 acres. When the word went out, by the way, I just want you to know that this is going to be it's a Christian high school, and the board is all Zimbabwean. They're all Zimbabwean Christians. Those are 2 members of the board there. No American, nothing wrong with that. But if we're going to have self-propagating churches in Africa, they have to stand on their own. And imagine a Christian high school that starts right from the beginning with a Zimbabwean board of Christian men and women. It's them, their wives, and 2 other couples that are on the board. So here we are. So when the word went out, 15 villages. The grandmothers and the mothers could not believe that now their children and grandchildren were going to get a high school education for the first time ever. And so they said, we want to clear the fence line, because that's the first thing you have to do by government. You've got to build a fence around the 70 acre. They said they want, now I want you to know, there's no backhoe, there's no machines. It's just axes, it's machetes, and it's their hands. That's it. When I think about it now, it still chokes me up. I just can't believe it. Because there they go. 70 acre perimeter. They're going to clear so we can lay the fence. Look at that. That was pure bush, and look what they did. Just amazing. So it was cleared. So we put the fence posts in. We got the fence done. We got a truck, because you see what our truck's going to do is going to go down to the river and get the sand to mix with the concrete, because then we build our own buildings. That's the tank, because we've drilled the well and we've hit water, and we're going to pump water up to a tank, and we're going to start building our high school. I got a Jackson Christian High School in Jackson. It's Church of Christ High School in Jackson, Tennessee. In 2 weeks, they're coming on their spring break, and we have built the first building, and they're going to be doing the painting. So they're coming. So his name is Nkosi, her name is Katie, and Nkosi is a young man that I've mentioned to you, but I want to give you additional story about him. So someone said to me, Dorian, when are you opening up the high school? Well, we finished the first phase. We had to raise $107,000, and between August and now we've raised all the money. We're going to open it up in May of 2018, because we had to do the infrastructure. Now we've got to start building the building. So who's going to be the principal, and how's that going to happen? Do you have anybody in line? God was way ahead of us, because this young man, 6 years ago, came to Friedhardman. Now, he traveled with me back from Africa. And when we got to the airport, he came out of it wasn't a mud hut, it was a concrete house, but he had no electricity and no running water. And he came with one carry-on to the airport and a pair of flip-flops. And I said to Nkosi, I should have known better. His name was Nkosi Lati Mpofu. I said, Nkosi, you need to wear shoes. You're going halfway around the world. He says, this is all I got. One of the preachers standing there took his shoes off and gave it to Nkosi. Nkosi came to Friedhardman. And I want you to know that in 2 years, he became student body president. And he's now got his BA. He's now got his master's in ministry. And now working on his master's in education, because guess who's going to be the first principal of the school in Zimbabwe is going to be a Zimbabwean Christian. Well, while he was at Friedhardman, very popular, a young lady liked him. So Katie and Kosi come to me and they say, well, you know, we really like each other. And I said, you wait a minute now. It had nothing to do with color. It had to do with culture. And I said, Katie, you got to go back to Zimbabwe and you got to go spend time there. And I'm not talking about a few weeks. I'm talking about months, and get to know the culture. She came back. They both came back and they both met with me. In fact, they wanted to meet with me there, and I said, no, you just mull it over and come back. They came back, and she said, we both want to be missionaries in Zimbabwe together, and we want to head the school up. And she's going to be business manager. Oh, by the way, so when they said that to me, I did their wedding. So anyway, so she's going to be business manager. She's working on a master's in business, and he's going to be the new principal, the first principal of the new Christian high school in Zimbabwe. And then we have this other couple, Progress and Martha. They are both got their degrees in education and in ministry, and both working on their masters now as well. And they are going to be part of it. And then the minister here, the Malanganese, minister and his wife here, they said to us, he's planted 2 churches in the area, and they said, Dorian, what we would like to do is take care of the facilities, the clinic and the high school. We want to do that. And so you can see how the Lord's taking care. I mean, it's just amazing what's happening in Africa, and you are making this possible. And I just want to thank you for all of the help that you have given to us. We head to Africa in 9 days, and we have teams that will be coming in. We have teams that are coming in March, and then we have teams that are coming in this summer. Maybe there might be a young person or older person or whatever that might want to come sometime. You let me know. You know, we got a website, partnersforafrica.com. You just let us know. But we would love for you. We have people that come all the time, and they're all ages. They're from youth all the way to retirees. And we would love for you to come and see Africa and meet the brethren there. Thank you for your support. I just thought about, what our whole life is about. You know, our destiny is eternity, and our homeland is heaven. And whatever we can do to share Jesus Christ while we're here on earth only adds to the joy of heaven one day. Oh, you said that to me. I didn't think it was much that I said to you. Yeah, that caused me to focus on Christ. So I just want to challenge you. No, not everybody can go to Africa. But wherever you are, be a light. Let Jesus be seen in you. For as many of you as been baptized into Christ have put on Christ. Paul wrote the Galatian brethren in Galatians chapter 3, verse 27. It's not getting wet. Oh, you will, because it's an immersion. But it's about taking on the life of Christ. And I would like to separate the Christian way from all religions, because I don't believe it's a religion. I don't believe it's a philosophy. I believe it is a relationship with the Creator of the world. That's what sets it apart. We don't do things to try to create favor with some sort of God or some sort of way of life. Our God has given us this grace by which we respond to and then enjoy this life with Him. The invitation song has been announced. Won't you come as we stand and sing?